Welcome to North Carolina. This is the state line entering from Georgia. I'm going on a little road trip to see some beautiful scenery and some roadside attractions in the Tar Heel State. It's a beautiful day also, a little chilly, but it's winter. There's Georgia on that side. The road is called Highway 60 Spur and has just 2 lanes. Now looking this way in North Carolina, this same road is called Highway 60, not Spur, and has 5 lanes. Hardly any traffic on this 5-lane comfort cruise. There are more billboards on this highway than vehicles. On this road trip, I'll be taking the mountainous route, heading eastbound, and going through more populated areas on my return route. Just past Murphy, North Carolina, and you can see the Great Smoky Mountains in front of me. In about an hour, I'll reach my first destination in those mountains. It's going to be a great day today. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! Recently I took a quick trip through North Carolina to see some interesting places. In this video, I'll show you my route eastbound through the Smoky Mountains and ending in the Piedmont Triad this evening. Going to be another really busy day. Let's go! Let's look at a map of where I'm going today. I'll be driving about halfway across the state of North Carolina. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to focus on where I'll be stopping along the way. The green start on the bottom left is where I enter the state. I'll head northeast to Bryson City, then head east to the Asheville area. Then I stop in the small town of Old Fort, and finally drive a couple of hours or so to Winston-Salem. Lots of driving today. I'm at the Swain Center campus of Southwestern Community College. There's something unique right along the thoroughfare. It's a series of 10 kayaks half buried in the ground. Very similar to the arrangement of Kayak Ranch in Amarillo, Texas, except you can't spray paint these kayaks. This is called Kayak Ranch. I'm about 5 or 10 minutes southwest of Bryson City. I've traveled along this road numerous times, and only recently found out this was here. Kayak Ranch was created by Paul Wolf, the coordinator of the college's outdoor leadership program, and Brian Kane, the coordinator of their fine arts program. This also advertises a popular outdoor activity in this area, and on my way up here, I noticed a busy kayaking location along the Nantahala River. On their Facebook page, there are a few posts where students installed all the kayaks into the ground. Based on the dates, it looks like this attraction was completed on August 20th, 2013, so this has been here almost 10 years now. Oh, and that kayaking location? That's Nantahala Outdoor Center. They donated the kayaks. Check this out if your travels take you from Murphy to Bryson City. And speaking of Bryson City, I'm driving through the downtown area right now. Bryson City has become a very popular tourist destination. Lots of shops and restaurants are here. Not to mention there's a lot of great outdoor activities near here, like kayaking and hiking, and also some indoor activities like gambling, since Cherokee is about 15 minutes away. But I'm headed to nowhere. This is known as the Road to Nowhere. This road was meant to connect to the town of Fontana after the original road was disconnected when a river was dammed, forming Fontana Lake. The road was also hoped for by local residents to commute to a cemetery where their ancestors were laid to rest. However, the federal government ran into expensive environmental issues and decided to end construction of the road. After nearly 70 years, the U.S. Interior Department settled with Swain County. They got $52 million for not completing the road. Only 6 miles of the road was built, and it ends right here, where it's now a trailhead to hike into the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. This has become a popular destination for not only hikers, but people such as myself who are curious about this road. These steel posts have been installed to prevent vehicles from traveling any further on this road. This marker shows points of interest along the canceled road, and 1/10 of a mile is the Lakesview Drive Tunnel. Yep, even a tunnel was built for the road, and it's still down there. Today I'm just gonna walk toward and then through the tunnel to see the other side. The tunnel is open. There are no lights inside the tunnel, so I expect it will be very dark in there. You might be able to see some people already inside the tunnel. Right away you can see a lot of graffiti along both sides of the tunnel walls. The camera is already doing a really great job of adding some light. That's a lot of graffiti. Some water leaching out of the walls and iced up right there. Quite a few cracks in the walls, so I'm wondering if the Park Services is just allowing this tunnel to return to nature. It's very dark in here, and I'm trying to watch my step and stay in the middle because of the icing of the moisture coming from the walls. Look at that ice over there. Lots of it. Even a little ice in the middle, probably from moisture on the top of the tunnel walls. And here's the other side. Still looks like a road, doesn't it? I'm not sure how far the paved part of the trail goes, but this is as far as I'll be hiking on this trail. It's very beautiful here. The tunnel is about a 1/4 mile long. Some graffiti on the rock face outside the tunnel. This path is the trailhead for 2 trails. There's a 3.2 mile loop that reaches the lake about halfway into the trail and ends where we parked our car. There's a more lengthy 35-mile trail which roughly follows where that new road would have gone and leads to the Fontana Dam. As for us, we're heading back through the tunnel. I think there's been some attempt to paint over the graffiti, but people keep spray painting on the walls. For some reason, the camera is not picking up much light going in this direction. This is pretty much what it looks like to the naked eye when walking through this tunnel. And just like that, we're back on the other side. Also noticing a little more moss on the stone on this side. I'm not sure why. Alright, just another 1/10 of a mile and I'll be back at the car. Oh, one more thing. There are wild boar traps along this trail. People say wild boars escaped from a farmer about 100 years ago, and their progeny still roam the mountains near here. Now heading downhill, returning to Bryson City, and I've pulled over at a scenic overlook. This is the Takasaki River, which I believe flows into Fontana Lake. This has to be so beautiful during the fall leaf season. Alright, moving on. Now heading east on the Great Smoky Mountains Expressway. A little traffic on this road, but not bad. The overpass is the Blue Ridge Parkway. I'm gonna try and take that road to the high point of the parkway if it's open. The entrance is just up here on the left. Okay, so I'm on the entrance road leading to the Blue Ridge Parkway, and up there you see it's gated shut. I think the reason is the tunnels are pretty iced over, especially where the road goes above 4,000 or 5,000 feet, so I'm turning around and continuing eastbound. It's a very beautiful day in western North Carolina. I'm almost at the end of this freeway, and I'll be continuing eastbound on Interstate 40, where I'm headed toward Asheville. My first stop in Asheville is at Clyde A. Irwin High School, home of the Warriors. School is closed today. I'll pan over and open the hill just outside that theater building. It looks like a statue of their mascot, which kind of looks similar to a Muffler man. I have to zoom in very far to get this shot. The gates are locked, and I'm not going to walk up to the theater as I don't want to be arrested for trespassing. So I'll just have to settle for this faraway shot. The mascot is called Chief Willie. Another thing about this high school, some people say it's haunted. The high school was built over a former graveyard, and the school board had to remove over 1,000 bodies, and the unearthing of those bodies was so careless that students were playing with the human remains. That's really, really gross. I'm leaving right now. After that really awful story, I need something peaceful right now. Maybe heading to this peace garden will help out. And also this weird metal statue will make you smile. Maybe. This is a metal man with a big smile on his face and wearing a bowler hat. He's riding some cross between a pig and a dog. And instead of paws or legs, this creature has 4 wheels. This is the Burton Street Peace Gardens and Market. It looks like it's in a neighborhood, and they've converted this property to an urban garden, and I guess they sell produce here as well. Look at the face on this creature. This is really adorable. Oh, look at this guy. Looking more closely, he's carrying a firearm in one hand, and some roses in the other hand. Also, the creature appears to have bunny ears. The sculpture is named, appropriately enough, Guns N' Roses. This was sculpted by artist Stefan Stebo Bonnets and was meant to showcase his great sculpting abilities. Bonnets lives in Asheville and has created a number of steel sculptures, some of which have been installed in this metro area. This really is an impressive sculpture. You have to see it for yourself. This is where the Peace Gardens are located. I believe they do want you to make a donation if you go here, so I'll take some quick video from here. The farmers market has fresh produce every Friday afternoon. Live music, plays, parties, and more are hosted here. The gardens are open from dawn till dusk every day. I'm probably a couple of miles from downtown Asheville, and it's pretty easy to get to, but there's not much parking. Speaking of downtown, that's my next stop. By some miracle, I found a parking space in downtown Asheville, and in front of me is this gigantic iron. This is an extremely busy area of Asheville. Lots of small shops and restaurants in this part of downtown. Across from the Flatiron building is this, flat iron. I wonder how large the clothes are that would need to be pressed by this iron. This iron looks like it's about 8 feet tall. It does look like it belongs to a giant monopoly board. This iron was installed in 1997 and created by artist Reed. I'm lucky to have this iron to myself for a couple of minutes,
I don't want to take a picture with it.
as this is normally a popular spot to get that Instagram photo. And just like that, here come the people. Performance artists also stand next to this iron.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'll head on out and continue my journey eastward to see some more great places. But first I'm grabbing some lunch at this cookout. Very good food at cookouts in the Carolinas and Virginia. I'm not sure why Georgia locations are not very good. Do any of my Georgia friends agree? Please leave me a comment. Continuing eastward on Interstate 40. There's not a cloud in the sky this afternoon. Just clear blue sky, temperature a little cool. A perfect winter day in the western North Carolina mountains. Not long after leaving the Asheville area, I'm on this long downhill and winding part of Interstate 40. The speed limit is also reduced to 55 miles per hour, but they have forced the trucks to go 35 miles an hour and stay in the right lane. Take a look to the right. With no leaves on the trees, the distant mountains are in view. Turn a few more corners and the mountains aren't so distant. My next exit is not too far away, but that doesn't stop a certain parent from passing people on the right. And speaking of that parent, here's my exit at Old Fort. F-O-R-T. Fort. Here's the restored Old Fort train depot, with a caboose parked out front. The depot was built in 1880 and ended service in 1975. Today it's a museum. There's something on the other side of this edifice. Beyond the railroad track is part of the historic downtown area, but closer to where I'm standing is this arrowhead monument. This monument was built in 1930 and is 30 feet tall when you include the stone pedestal. This monument is meant to honor peace between Native Americans and the predominantly white settlers. Some more of the downtown area along this road. Old Fort was once known as Frontier Fort, an early outpost against the Cherokee Native American tribe in September 1776. The outpost stood nearby, and the marker on the arrowhead monument says this marks the site of the old Indian fort built in 1756 from which this town was named. Old Fort is only about half an hour from Asheville, but now I had to drive 2 hours to Winston-Salem where my next destinations are located, so I had to get going before the sun goes down. I've arrived in Winston-Salem, where I find this Shell Oil Clamshell gas station. Back in the 1930s, several of these Clamshell gas stations were built in this area, but only this one remains. This location turned into a lawnmower repair shop until the 1980s, but then the State Historical Society restored the station in the late 1990s. Not only was the clamshell building restored, but the gas pumps were restored as well. The white-covered area to the left of the clamshell structure is a restoration of the old car wash. I didn't think to look too closely at that, and I probably should have. This is a popular stop, and while I and others were here, A policeman showed up as someone reported a suspicious gathering here. So the policeman told us to make our visit brief and leave the property. So, on to the next stop. And the next stop is in the Old Salem Historic District, which is a few blocks from downtown. Looks like some very old buildings, or maybe they're reconstructions. This area was settled in 1766 by the Moravian Church as part of a larger region called Wachovia. In this open lot, there's a marker on the ground, and it signifies this was the location of the original Krispy Kreme location. The first Krispy Kreme opened on July 13, 1937 by Vernon Rudolph. Rudolph purchased the secret donut recipe in New Orleans in 1993, then opened a donut shop with his uncle in Asheville a year later, before opening his own donut shop right here in Winston-Salem. To add to the ambiance of the area, there's some people in a horse-drawn carriage going down the street. Not only was the first store open here, but Rudolph thought ahead and added a walk-up window to the store to speed up sales of those hot glazed donuts. The store was a hit, and Rudolph quickly opened many more stores in the Carolinas. Today, Krispy Kreme is an international donut chain. And just a couple of blocks away from the former Krispy Kreme is an appropriate roadside attraction, so I'm gonna head that way now to check it out. You can see how close I am to downtown. Some of the skyscrapers are very close. And here's the appropriate roadside attraction. The hot glazed donut would go great with this nice hot pot of coffee, don't you think? This coffee pot has been here since 1858. This coffee pot is over 7 feet tall and can hold 740 gallons of coffee. There's a small marker below the base of the coffee pot. This is the Mickey coffee pot. Built in 1858 by Samuel and Julius Mickey, who were Moravian descendants of the founders of Salem. This originally stood in front of their tinsmithing shop. One legend was this coffee pot was used to conceal either a Yankee soldier or a Confederate soldier during the U.S. Civil War. The coffee pot wasn't always a popular attraction. In the early 20th century, there was a tradition to take down the coffee pot off what was its wooden pole. One group of people threw a lit homemade firecracker inside the coffee pot. Today the coffee pot is a local landmark. There are larger coffee pots across America, but this one is the oldest. Alright, let's head toward downtown. Not too far away from where I was by this camel pawn shop, take a look at this low wall. This is called the Memory Wall of Mr. Imagination. In 2007, artist Gregory Warmack was invited to teach art in downtown Winston-Salem. As a gesture of gratitude, he took a 55-foot section of wall from the bus station, added a bunch of rocks and seashells, plus the junk that people donated, and created this interesting artwork. All sorts of items were concreted into this wall, including hubcaps, vehicle tags, old jewelry, some unidentified shiny objects, and colorful numbers. A little bit of everything from a lot of people. Warmack had an epiphany after recovering from a near-fatal gunshot wound to his stomach. He decided to put greater focus into his artwork. From that point, he began to refer to himself as Mr. Imagination. He had many exhibits in art museums across the U.S. and also created a horned dinosaur in the Diamond USA section of Walt Disney World's Animal Kingdom. My final stop takes me to this skyscraper. Does this look a lot like the Empire State Building in New York City? Well, it should. The Empire State Building design was inspired by this edifice. This is the R.J. Reynolds building. It was built in 1929, 2 years before the Empire State Building. There was an untrue rumor that the staff of the Empire State Building sends a Father's Day card every year to the staff of the Reynolds building. What was true is the Empire State Building staff sent the Reynolds building staff a 50th birthday card in 1979. Today this building is the Kimpton Cardinal Hotel. It is a high-end hotel with luxury accommodations, a bowling alley, restaurants, and even a slide that spans 2 stories. When it was built in 1929, it was the tallest building in the South at just 21 stories. Today it's not even the tallest building in Winston-Salem, but it sure did make its mark on skyscraper history. And that's it for my day trip along the more hilly route across North Carolina. On the next video, I'll take the more traveled route roughly along Interstate 85 on the way back home. But you'll see that next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!